Hello, and welcome to the second episode of Off the Record, the show where each week we have a chat with two incredibly talented artists involved in the Perth music and performance scene, and get a little sneak peek at some of their awesome and upcoming work. As always, I'm your host Jarrod Hayden, and on this week's episode we have an exciting lineup of segments for you. First up, we'll be talking with the artist and costume designer Tessa Dorotich, who has created costume pieces for local events such as Fringe and the Ice Cream Factory Summer Festival. Following that, we'll have a promo video for the wonderful Nanut Music Festival, as always, which showcases Perth's brightest and musical talents down south every year. Then, we'll have a chat with performer and local SAE student Josh Black, about his creative process, and round things out with a musical performance from Josh himself. So, stay tuned for that coolness later on. For now, let's kick things off with the amazing Tessa.
Hi.
Greetings, Tessa. You're an amazing artist of all, many talents, but one particularly interesting medium you work in is wearable art and costumes for musicians and performers. What started you down that creative path? What started you down it?
I grew up dancing. It was something that I did for 15 years. And my mum was a tailor, or is a tailor, and made all of our costumes. And so I grew up in a house full of fabric and feathers and sequins and glitter and all of those things. So it's something that's been really ingrained in my life for a really long time. Textiles and fibre arts is something that is traditionally women's work, and all of the women in my family for so many generations have so much expertise that they have passed down on to me. And so I'm really grateful to have that knowledge, but also be able to push it in a really contemporary way and to carry that knowledge on.
That's awesome. How long have you been doing this whole thing for?
I think I kind of properly started around COVID, when I had a little bit more time to invest in my practice, but that's when it all kind of kicked off, and it's been really snowballing since, which has been great.
That's awesome. When does something become wearable art as opposed to a costume?
For me, the costumes that I make require kind of a level of functionality and a level of use. So a costume might need to be worn every night for a show run for a month. But I've also had, often a circus performer will say, I'm dragging myself along the floor and my apparatus is like sandpaper, so you need to make this costume last. So there's definitely a level of functionality, but you also need to consider the themes and the subject and the kind of character that you need to convey for that artist. Whereas wearable art is kind of more classified as visual art that can be worn, and so there's a lot more refinement in that process, but it's a little bit less it doesn't necessarily need to be worn in a very specific way or need to last a certain amount of time, and so you can sacrifice that to kind of invest a little bit more into the visual appearance of the garment.
Okay, you talked about making costume or wearable art for you say a circus?
Yeah.
What kind of performers and events have you made wearable art for? What other ones?
I'm very grateful to work across a really wide range of live performers. So I do a lot of musicians, circus artists, dancers, live performers and stuff like that. So I get to work across a really wide group of live people, which I really like, yeah.
It's awesome. What's your process like for creating pieces of specific artists or for them?
When I'm working for an artist, I generally kind of discuss with them the meaning and the functionality of what they require, and then we kind of do some sketches, and there's a series of fittings that follow the design process. So it's quite a collaborative process, which I really enjoy. You get to work with someone to create something, and then they get to embody that thing and wear it, which is really exciting.
So I'm guessing there's a lot of work that goes into these wearable art pieces.
Yeah.
How does it feel to see them on stage? How does it feel to see it being showcased to so many people?
Yeah, it's really cool, I think, as a visual artist, if you're a painter or if you do kind of more traditional kind of forms of visual art, it's actually quite rare that you get to see people receive your work. I mean, if you go to an exhibition, that's great, but you don't get to see every person that looks at your work and responds to it and interacts with it. And I think when you get to sit in an audience with a group of people and watch your piece on stage and hear their chatter and hear what they're responding to, it's really exciting. I find that really exciting.
What's the coolest or craziest piece of wearable art that you've made?
So this piece behind me, this is probably the thing that my work is most well known for. All of these pieces of green, like little bits of wire, are actually lights. So it took me on and off probably about a year to create. Every single node is hand stitched onto the bodysuit. But for me, when I started working with wearable light, I did a lot of research, and everything that I kind of saw was quite clunky. It was quite contrived in terms of movement and wearability, because that is the nature of the material. It is quite firm, it's quite strong. It usually only bends in one way, if it at all.
Oh.
And so it was like a really, like, at the beginning, just a media test, just looking at how I can use this light in a way that I haven't really seen before, and how I could kind of apply that in the ways that I wanted. The primary goal of the garment was to kind of show the human form and the lines and the shapes without any form of restriction to movement, and so that was something that I really seek to achieve in that piece, which was.
I think you nailed it.
Yeah, I think I got there through a lot of work, and it's definitely a challenge finding a place to put a battery pack on a skin tight suit and all of those things. So it was kind of like a journey from start to finish.
Yeah, I mean, again, you nailed it. As soon as I saw it come in, I was like, whoa.
Thank you.
Now I see what we're working with here. So you've used LED lights and all kinds of crazy materials in your work before. Do you find working with abstract material daunting or exciting?
I think it's really exciting. I think my favourite visual art is always something that I look at and I'm like, what even is that? What is that made of? How is that being made? And it really encourages the viewer to, when they don't have the pretext or the context of a material or understanding what it's made of, you approach it from a really different point of view, and you look at the work without any kind of preconceptions of what it is. And that's what I really try and achieve through kind of like the wearable light, and I use a lot of kind of like reflective fabric and stuff, is that I think it really generates a lot of visual interest when people don't really know what they're looking at and they're trying to work that out, and that's something that really drives me in my practice as well. And working with light is cool because even if you don't do a very good job, people think it's amazing.
It's a lot of fun.
It is, it's a lot of fun, definitely.
Yeah. So final question, what advice would you give to an aspiring creative?
I feel like I am an aspiring creative myself.
It's a bit of a loaded question too.
I would say work hard. And
work hard?
Yeah, and work harder, and then work a bit harder, and then keep working, and maybe one day somebody will see that. Yeah.
Would you tell them to work with light up suits? Or with lighting in general?
I would tell them to work with what makes them most excited, and I think it's important to consider the sustainability of your practice in terms of, does this need to be financially sustainable for me, or do I need to get, do I need to pay my bills? But also, like, what are the things that really excite me, and try and find space in your practice for those things. I think it's sometimes a little naive to be like, only do the things that you love, but yeah, finding space to do that.
We'll be right back.
Winning the Live Music Awards is an honour. To have that recognition from peers that's saying that we really are the best live music event. We love it, and when we're here we feel like it, so getting that recognition is always supportive and encouraging, gets us going.
Festivals like Man Up provide a platform that's not usually given to artists that haven't done much or that are early in their careers.
A lot of artists aren't able to get exposure to a wider audience if they're living in country areas, in small towns or in rural places. So this is a fantastic opportunity for country artists to come and perform whatever kind of music it is that they're into. And they get exposure to people that have come from Perth and interstate.
There's so much young talent around, especially regional, and they don't get a big opportunity to get out and showcase what they can do. So yeah, I think it's very important and just proud to be involved.
It was just very affirming for us to receive this award. Because it's so easy to get lost when you see all these amazing artists who have had years to hone their craft and get lost in that. And so having
comparing yourself to other people.
and so having an award like this and having a regional festival supporting emerging artists, I think is really important.
Yeah, super important. There's so many bands that are in Perth that already have access to the opportunities. It's really important for kids and not so little kids like us to be able to sort of join in, because we're all from down south originally. These guys are from Bunbury, Carnarvon, Albany, Boston, so we're all country kids deep down.
Show the regions, share the regions, and indulge in the regions.
And we're back. Thanks to Nannup Music Festival for letting us showcase the awesome experiences they have to offer. Whether you're an artist, musician, or just looking for a fun weekend with the family, I highly recommend you go to check out the Nannup next year. It's an awesome family-friendly event with some really great music artists. So come down in March 2025. Now, our next guest is a musician, also fellow SAE student, Josh. Greetings, welcome.
Hello, that's me. Oh, my name.
Yeah. So Josh, you've been on top of being a film student here at SAE before. Are you also a singer, songwriter?
I am. So I would probably be that guy who just refers to himself as an artist. But no, I think there's a lot of facets that you could kind of take your work and your passion. I think I have a passion for the arts.
What started your interest in music? What got you?
So look, music is what kind of predated pretty much all of those other mediums for me. So I was playing piano from the age of about 5, 6 roughly.
So you learn like music writing, music
Yeah,
reading.
so
early.
I'm also high functioning autistic, and so I remember that one of my core memories was giving my piano teacher an absolute headache because she'd play something and she'd be like, "All right, now read the music," and I'd play it, and she'd be like, "No, read
Play it
the
off
music."
by heart, yeah. So how long have you been creating music for?
So I've been kind of fiddling around with things, and obviously, as I said, I play by ear, so I've just been fiddling and improvising and things like that for a very long time, and I've done writing and I've done poetry and things like that, and then it was almost the natural convergence for it to become, oh, let's try writing songs and let's start putting stuff together. And it was only in the last couple of years that I've started like performing live, things like that. But I've been doing it for as long as I can remember. I just generally end up throwing them out at the end of the process.
How would you define your like style and tone as a musician?
Look, I don't really play to any genre. It's the same way for any other art style that I take part in. I don't play to any genre or any specific style, but kind of comes through that internal meaning, I guess. It usually comes from that place inside. So the same way I'd write poetry or writing songs, it might be just that's something that I know I need to focus on, or it's something that I need to get out on a page, or it's almost like a journaling process. It's dealing with those core issues. If I'm feeling insecure about something, I might go write a poem or a song about that, or if I'm feeling kind of proud of myself, I'll write a song, which is what I did with Letters, but we'll talk about that one a little bit later on anyway.
How do you find inspiration for your songs? Does it like come from one place, or
no,
draw it in from everywhere?
No, definitely not. I think as an artist, you kind of channel the world around you, and everything that happens to you on a daily basis is always going to impact your work. It's always going to impact what the final product is. It could be that I listened to a bit of AC/DC perhaps earlier in the day, and then it gives you an excellent band, the band, and it'll give you an idea for a lick, or it'll something to that effect. There's always influences, but the core ideas generally stay very internal, as I was talking about before.
Could you tell us a bit about your entire like songwriting process?
Oof.
Could
you tell me about my songwriting process? Trying to figure it out. Look, I don't think there's any specific process that I'll follow. It's the same with, again, any of the artistic mediums, but for myself, it's if I get an inspiration for something, I'll usually... The process I've usually followed was kind of write the lyrics first, try it as kind of poetry, and then put music to it later. For this song that I'll perform a little bit later, it started off as me sitting down with a loop pedal going, oh, how can I make something work out of this, and just kind of chilling out and relaxing, and then...
It's having a good time.
Exactly, and it's at those points when the best kind of comes out, and it's when you're not trying to create something, it's just when you're trying to relax and be you. And
so you try to have fun and let it naturally
for sure, absolutely.
You don't try and force it.
No. You ever try and force anything? Bad.
Doesn't work.
Bad.
What's the longest amount of time you spent working on a song?
Oof, I think... Look, after the discussion about this one, this incredible piece of art that took definitely more than a week,
a long time.
a lot longer than a week. I think honestly, a week.
Yeah,
probably.
Do you have a favourite movie or soundtrack or song?
Oof, I do. All right, so the one that really kind of stoked my interest in kind of cinematic music, being a filmmaker, was actually in a game, and it was The Last of Us, and it was Gustavo Santaolall's theme for The Last of Us, which he played in his 12-string.
Okay.
Excellent guitar piece, incredible. But in later on, I kind of gained an appreciation for Hans Zimmer and everything through the epic pieces, and then of course he dropped that track with Pompeii when they redid, with Bastille where they redid Pompeii. That was a convergence of I loved that song growing up, and then Hans Zimmer, and I was just like, oh, listen to that for like 3 weeks straight.
So unfortunately, we're going to have to wrap up this interview.
Oh.
But thanks again for taking the time to chat all things music with us today, Josh.
Terrific.
We're now going to play one of your awesome songs for the people to hear.
Can't wait.
Your incredible performance that you were talking about before.
Let's see how it turns out.
What song did you play?
It's called Letters. This was one
Letters?
that I referred to before. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. How long did that take you to make?
A day and a half.
A day and a half?
Yeah.
Was it one of the more natural ones?
It was definitely more natural. It was more poetic, but that was more poetic through the process of it, not through trying to write it as poetry in and of itself.
Thank you for letting us know. We'll enjoy.
Terrific.
If only I could write a letter to myself 5 years ago today. I tell myself that it gets better. You find yourself and lose the pain along the way. Ooh. If only I knew how to write a letter, all the cliches I'd have down on the page. I tell myself that it don't matter, 'cause the journey is most of it anyway. Ooh. Oh, I've been fighting for this broken voice, storming its empty shores, nowhere more. It's getting time to raise my flag, celebrate what I have. Maybe I still want more, but that's okay. So don't feel as lost as I did before. I know I'm moving forward. Ooh. Ooh. If only I knew how to write a letter. If only I knew how to spell out my mistakes. If only I could tie my eyes with my own heartbeat. I know it's warm and now it's being brought in from the rain. Ooh. I'm fighting for. This broken voice storming these empty shores. And when it's getting time to raise my flag, celebrate what I have. Maybe I still want more. That's okay. So don't feel as low as I did before. I know I'm moving forward. Yeah. Don't feel as lost as I did before. I know I'm moving forward. It's getting time to raise my flag, celebrate what I have. Maybe I still want more, but that's okay.
And with that magical performance, we've reached the end of the second episode of Off the Record. Thanks so much to our incredible talent for joining us today. It has been an absolute pleasure chatting with you both, of course. Thank you to Tessa for sharing your amazing wearable art with us. Where can people find you and your creations online?
You can find me on Instagram at Tessa Dorotich, just my name, or I have a website as well. It's tessadorotich.com.
Can you find the website on your Instagram as well?
Yes, you can.
Cool. I struggle with that sometimes. Have you got any upcoming projects people should watch out for?
I do. I have a really exciting mural project coming up actually that I work in a lot of different mediums, but that's this week, so I'll be posting it soon. I'm really looking forward to that.
Awesome. Thank you as well to the amazing Josh for the soulful performance. Where can people find you and your music?
You can find me on Instagram as well at Josh_Black_official. Which camera am I looking at? Plug. Josh_Black official on Instagram. You'll find all of my videography and general creative stuff on there. I will be creating my own website at some point soon as well as a way to kind of showcase more of my portfolio. But otherwise, for the moment, find me on SAE campus as well.
Awesome. Have you got any big projects in the pipeline? Just real quick.
We've got a short film that we're editing at the moment that was filmed over the trimester break. Working on a music video at the minute as well. Both of those looking very, very promising, and excited to get those out to the world and for people to start seeing.
Awesome. I'm looking forward to those. Thank you both again for joining us today, and thank you all for watching. Sorry, I'm struggling a little bit here. It's been a long day. Do yourself a favour and check out both Tessa and Josh's socials to keep up to date with all the awesome stuff that they're working on. I know I will. And check out the last week's episode of Off the Record if you haven't already, of course. It's on YouTube. To hear some more inspiring chats with local Perth talents. Thank you again for joining us today, and I hope to see you again next time. There'll definitely be a next time.